Good morning, dear students. Welcome to Social Science class, chapter Constitutional Design. In this, we have already discussed one topic, that is the democratic constitution in South Africa, which is not in our syllabus. Okay, but that was the prerequisite to start this chapter because then only you will come to know what the constitution do in real sense. So, what is constitution? We have already discussed that this is the supreme law of a country, yes, containing almost all the rules that the citizens and the government have to follow. Okay, rights of the citizens come from this. This is the supreme rule book of our country. The power of the government and how the government should function, that all comes up through these constitutions. Now, the next question is, why do we need a constitution? Why we need a constitution? Yes, so you see that the South Africa is a good example to understand this, why we need this constitutions. So after 1994, yes, when the new national flags and the new Republic of South Africa, the new born democracy come to this world, then there was a little bit, you can say, a concern for both the parties. Yes, means I'm talking about here the blacks as well as the white minority, blacks majority and whites minority. So, what the problem is that how is this easy for them to trust each other after this racial discrimination and segregation's history? Yes, how to ensure that the democratic principle of majority rules will not be compromised. Yes, that black should have the say in the ruling of the governments and to run that countries. And on the other hand, there should be a system to protect the white minorities, its privileges and properties. Because we need to, as Nelson Mandela say, that we need a country which have zero discriminations in race or in any colors or anything. So we want to provide equality to our system. So the biggest need, or you can say the biggest, you can say the only way to build and maintain such kind of trust is to just simply write it down all the rules which everyone can be abide by. So what they did, they sat on it across the table. They have done the debates, discussions, and they have come up with their constitutions in which, yes, there is a rights for everyone. Yes, there is no discriminations on the name of race, caste, colors, irrespectives, and at the same times the property which was owned by the white minorities are not uh, comes under the, yes, the government. They have the power to contain that. Okay, but so what we can see here, that constitution is basically a set of written rules that are accepted by all the people living together in that country. Okay, so why do we need a constitution? So first is that it's generate a degree of trust, coordination that is necessary for different kinds of people to live together. So constitutions provide us the rule book. It's generate trust of all the people, whether that belongs to black community, white minority, or you can say you can use that in our sense. Or here when we are talking about in India, we don't have such racial discriminations. We have here casteism, regionalism type of things. So casteism is what, yes, SCs and STs are not treated properly. So this constitutions provided some degree of trust and the coordinations between the people living in India so that they can live together and trust each other. Because this constitutions provide some provisions which protect everyone from discrimination. irrespective of its caste, color, gender, place of birth, religion. So, first, it's generate a degree of trust and coordination. Second, it specifies how the government will constitute it, who will have the power to take which decisions. So constitution provide us the parliamentary form of government and all the rules like what is the power of prime minister, what is the power of governor, what is the power of president, what is cabinet. Yes, all that is written in constitutions, how to govern a country, election commission, everything, panchayati raj system, local government, citizenship act, everything is there in our constitution. So it specifies how the government will be constituted, government kaise banegi, yes, with the elections and the majority party rules and who will come to powers and who will take the decisions. So that is what written in our constitutions. Next is very important that it lay down the limits on the power of the government and tell us what the right of citizens are. It's limit the power of government. That means that if we chose a government, this constitution limits the power of that government to become autocratic or to become despotic. Yes, तानाशाह बनने से रोकती है because that constitution provide us the fundamental rights in many others in which the government can only work in a democratic way. Government cannot behave like a military rule or a monarch rule. All the powers given to the government have some limitation that is provided in the constitution, and at the same time it's also provide the right to the citizens. That means that one of the right is that we have the right to criticize the government. Suppose the petroleum rates and diesel rates are at peaks, so we have the right to criticize the government to come with some plans to make economical for all petrols and diesel. So for that, they cannot put you under the jail because that is your right to criticize the government. You have the rights, you have many rights, which we will study in one of the topics of democratic rights. So, this was about the limits and the powers of the government. Now, the fourth one says that it expresses the aspirations of people about creating a good society. So, we will study in this chapter only that the Constitution starts with a preamble, which is just a gist of the Constitution. Constitution का जो पूरा सार है, that is in preamble. What are the aspirations of people, what government is going to do, how he will maintain the system, equality, justice, secularism, socialism, all those are there. All the people aspirations, how they want to make this country great, what are the plans, what are the you can say the system in which the people can live in harmony, that all written in this constitution. Ultimately, what will this constitution do? It will create a good society where people live and love each other. There is no hatred in this society. Everyone have their own rights. No one's rights is exploited and taken away. So that's all is about why do we need a constitution. So there are 4 points. You can write those points and even you can elaborate in your words about this system. So almost all the countries who are democratic have the constitution. Okay, and we have opted the our constitutions we have with some of the others constitutions. We have taken some good points from American constitutions, from British constitutions. We will study that in the next topic. But before that, when we are talking about Indian constitutions, making of Indian constitution was not easy. Constitution making was not easy for us. Why it is not easy? Like, see, South Africa, we have learned that they have very different, difficult circumstances. Yes, racial discrimination and all those. But we also have faced a lot of problems while drafting or making our Indian constitutions. What are that? First, we have a huge and diverse country. We have a large area, as we are the seventh largest country in the world. Plus, we have diverse languages, we have diverse culture, we have more than, you can say, hundreds of languages in India. We have religions, scripts, everything. People are there from every languages, every areas, because we can easily say that now it's look easy because it's India where we have Tamil Nadu, we have Haryana, we have Punjab, but at that time there was no as such system because the princely states was also there, and the people of Punjab they only speak Hindi and Punjabi. On the other hand, the people in Tamil Nadu they speak English and Tamil. So this is the diversity, and that is why the unity and diversity, it's evolved from there. So if we have a huge country, diverse culture, definitely we have to, the constitution makers have to take care of all the section of the society. Yes, because no one should be left out from the constitution. So it was a very big challenge for the Indian constitution makers because country is a huge and a diverse country. Second is that the people of India emerging from the status of subject to that of citizens. Now, the people of India were emerging from the status of subjects to the citizens. So, what is subject? So, see, subjects basically, you can say that सूची कहते हैं इसे सूची means we are not taken as the human beings, we are not taken as the citizens during the British rule. We are just, you can say, under one control or jurisdictions typically by using force. Okay, we are not given the power, we are not given the rights as a citizens. They are treating us just as the subjects. Okay, then after the constitution we got the independence, now we are converted into the citizens. So that is the reason we have to be very careful in making our constitution during that time. The third option, which is again, I think you can easily correlate with this, the partition on the basis of religious differences. Pakistan and India was formed due to this religious difference, and the partition came into the two nations. But more than 10 lakh people died under the riots and the violence done during this religious differences. So at that time, that was the problem which we are facing because it is not a good situation at that time to make constitutions without leaving some religious matters. Okay, so this, you can say, the country was born through a partition on the basis of religious differences. And there is one more big problem during that time was that the Britishers had left it to the rulers of princely states. During that times, we have more than 550, or you can say more than that, princely states in India. Okay, princely states means that are ruled by the rulers, and that the Britishers have gave them the choice to whether to merge with India or with Pakistan or remain independent. So it was basically a negative point for India, but thankfully Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel they had combined almost 530 plus princely states to India. So this was the difficult situation at that time, and the during that time, because we are at the infant stage, and the makers that time have the anxiety that the present and the future of the country, yes, we have to be taken care. We have to look at that system in a proper way. Now, when we move to the path of the constitution, despite many difficulties, we have one very big advantages over the South Africa, that much of our consensus has evolved during the freedom struggle. Means हमारा जो constitution होगा वो कैसा होगा, that we have almost have final during our freedom struggle with the Britishers, because during that time in 1928, Motilal Nehru and 8 other Congress leaders drafted the Constitution of India, also known as Nehru Report. Now, in 1928, we have the knowledge of Constitution, and we got the independence in 1947. So, we almost all of us are uh, our Indian grandparents at that time are very much familiar with the constitution process, because they wanted to live free, they wanted to have some rights, yes, and they also wanted to participate in the freedom struggle. So all those have resulted into this constitutions. In 1931, the resolution at the Karachi session of Indian National Congress also dealt with the how India constitution should be look like. So means unlike Africa, we already have advantages over to make a Indian constitutions in a good way, because in 1928 we got the constitution of drafted the constitution of India. Second, in 1931, we also have the resolution on how the independent India constitution should look like. So that are the positive points. Then the familiarity with the political institutions of colonial rule also helped develop a agreement over the institutional design. Means you will see that elections were held around 1937, and in many of the states, provisional, you can say, we, the Indians, won the elections. Now, they are familiar with the system of elections. They are familiar with the ministries, how that ministries work, and they have worked during that time. Plus, they have proved that the legislative institutions are useful for these countries, and it will be very easy to opt for the design which we are already familiar with. Okay, so जो इलेक्शंस हुए उसमें इंडियंस ने भी पार्टिसिपेट किया ड्यूरिंग before independence, as they have worked under some ministries, or they have worked and they have fought the elections in that system. So they have the knowledge about the institutional design, means वहाँ की how the parliament works, how the judiciary works, Institution design means how judiciaries, how parliamentary, how governors and everything works, ministers works, which have which ministry under which department. So all those they come to know, and that is how the path of constitution started positive. Last, we have also gained confidence by learning from the other countries, like we have opted, we have taken something from a lot of constitutions like French, like from like idols of French revolutions like liberty, equality, fraternity, and so the practice of parliament democracy in Britain. Yes, we follow the practice of parliamentary democracy, unlike the US, where they have the presidential form of government. We have parliamentary democracy and the Bills of Rights, which is the rights of the US people against the government. So we get that from the constitutions of others, but that doesn't mean that we have simply imposed that. We have simply taken it in our constitutions. Our constitution makers, they have done their discussions, they have taken the debates, and they have seen that whether they will be useful for us or not. If that part is useful for us, then we have taken it and we have implemented in our constitutions. So we have taken it from French constitutions, we have taken from American constitutions, we have taken something from South American constitution, also from Australian constitutions, for Russian constitutions, काफी constitutions को we have done the detailed studies and we have checked that कि उनके जो provisions है, are they okay with us? क्या हमारे वहाँ पे ये काम कर रहे हैं? हमारे यहाँ पे अगर काम कर रहे हैं, if that is valid for our citizens also, then only we have opted for that, you can say amendments. Otherwise, we have not gone with that constitution. So this was the path of the constitution. This is how we have started making the constitutions. Then next topic will be the constitution assemblies and the ideals. So we will discuss that in next class. Thank you so much.